Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Coffee Yarn and Dinosaurs podcast. I haven't talked to you in about 3 months. This is pretty normal for me. I think we're at about a quarterly podcast right now, but here I am. I'm back. It's podcast day. I haven't showed you projects in a while, and to be honest, I am super duper busy. So I have started a bunch of projects, and I have some designs and stuff like that to show you. So we're just going to jump right in. So, first of all, finished project. You guys have seen this before, but it is finally published. My Medusa Earwarmer. Now, I feel like I look a little bit silly when I wear these, but honestly, it's the warmest thing ever because it's double thick. So this is Tunisian crochet worked in the round. And whenever I put that up online, people say, oh my gosh, I didn't know you could work Tunisian crochet in the round. I thought it was just a flat back and forth type thing. And the way that you work it is, have you ever seen those double-ended crochet hooks that have a hook on both ends? That's what this is for. So, see? Double thick. So this pattern just came out yesterday. And yeah, this has been in the works for probably almost a year, which that just seems to be how things go for me. I've had stuff in the works for a while, and it is finally published. So this is 50 grams of each color of DK weight yarn. The multicolor is called Steampunk Medusa by Yarn Over New York, and the black is Blackbird by Yarn Over New York. And there it is. And I pretty much just wear it all the time because I like to have warm ears. So, let's see. I think this is the only actual finished project I have to show you. Oh, wait, no. Behind me, this is great. I'm in a smaller house now, but so everything's jammed in. But the good news is that all my yarn type stuff is right here. I have these scrappy slipper socks. Obviously, the ends are not woven in yet. Whatever. They are 4 strands held together. 4 strands of fingering weight held together. And it's just a toe up ankle sock pattern. It doesn't have to be an ankle sock, but I chose to make it that way. And it's just a very simple broken rib, but they make very, very quick and comfortable slipper socks. So obviously for me, this is a stash busting pattern. I have lots of fingering weight scraps, but I don't necessarily want to make fingering weight scrappy socks because like it's just a lot. Working with fingering weight all the time is a lot. But when you hold 4 strands of fingering weight together, you get bulky weight, and then you can use size 10 needles and fly through it. Really fast projects. So these are done too. Well, they'll be done as soon as I weave the ends in, but they're, you know, I've made them. So there's that. As for things I am working on, let's see, what shall we start with? Start with this big old bag. So one of my things that I've noticed for this year is that I don't necessarily want to work things that are super complex. I might have a couple of complex projects here and there, but I don't want to be necessarily like staring at a chart all the time. So this project is, and I'm in the middle of a row, of course. Because why would I not be in the middle of a row when I need to make a video? This is a brioche shawl that has no pattern. This is just like one big swatch doodle type thing. So it's technically crescent shaped. It starts with a garter tab up here, and it's got some little like lace bubbles right here. It's got, let's see, let's flip it around over here. You see what I mean? It's just like a fun little shawl. I will probably never ever write this up because the purpose of this project is just to be a fun like swatchy swatch for me. So I can just keep going and I can make it, and even if it's not perfect, that's okay. The purpose of this project for me is to enjoy the yarn and enjoy how it feels all squished up in brioche. That's something I've been thinking about a lot lately is, what is the purpose of a project that I'm making, right? We talk about people being process or project knitters, right? So if you're a project knitter, your goal is that you want the thing that you are making. You see a sweater, you want to wear the sweater, and so you make the sweater and then you wear it. And your feeling of success or the accomplishment or whatever is because you want to wear the thing that you want to make. Other people, mostly like me, are process makers. So whether I'm knitting, whether I'm crocheting, spinning, weaving, whatever, I like the tactile, like if I'm weaving, I like the tactile of putting the shuttle back and forth, which, by the way, I'm teaching myself how to weave. And I'm staring at a loom right in front of me. The tripod is like jammed between me and the loom, which is why I'm saying weaving. But if I want to put the shuttle back and forth, it's the feeling of weaving for me. For this is a very squishy yarn, right? If you like the colors, this is Gritty Knits Merino Worsted. I forget, Merinosaurus. They're all like dinosaur names. I think Merinosaurus, and it's 4 colors. It's her Sprankers shawl kit, and I decided to be a deviant and, you know, knit it how I want to, not how her pattern says. So, sorry, Natasha. I love your colors. But anyway, this shawl for me is a process knit. It's not necessarily about, will I get the perfectly shaped shawl at the end of this project? It's about, it'll feel nice and I'll have enjoyed making it while I'm making it. With that said, because I decided to put like lace in the center of this spine, it's a little less mindless now because I have to actually pay attention to how often to do the increases and decreases, and I mess it up frequently. So this one I do have to sort of pay attention on. I'm sort of striping them in as I change. So I'm on the 3rd skein. I'm finishing the 2nd, moving on to the 3rd skein out of 4. There's number 3. And when I get to number 4, this is number 4. So yeah, that's where I'm at with this. I really enjoy it and I like the feel of it and I love the yarn. I just need to be able to focus while I'm working on it. So, next project, which is adorable. And also, if you're my sister-in-law, Maddie, who I don't think watches my podcast, Maddie, if you're watching this, you close your eyes and fast forward because this is for your baby and I don't want you to see it. Okay. Look at this. Okay, I have officially become the aunt / sister-in-law who is going to make you something impractical but really cute, and will also make something practical along with it. So this is a little tiny baby sweater. I'm trying to get the sleeves right and the hood out of the way so I can show it to you. Okay, let's get the hood out of the way. Look at that! Look at the little arms and the little fluffies on the sleeves. So I have the cardigan part completed. And right now I'm working on crocheting the hood. So this will get joined together at the top to be a hood. And then there's a border yet that I will go up and around. This is not my pattern. This is Bare Hooded Cardigan by Mon Petit Violon. And I know I'm saying an American accent. Everyone calm down. So it looks like this. And you can see that it's supposed to have patterning on. Oh, I just realized that my 3-year-old painted my nails and I didn't get the nail polish all the way off. I'm not starting over. I'm not going to go take the nail polish off. Everybody deal with it. So you can see that there should be patterning here around the bottom and around the edges. But because this is a super duper fluffy yarn, like look at this. Look how floofy this yarn is. There's no way that you would see texture, and there's no way that I want to look at a project and be like visually trying to see where the stitches are. I kind of have to feel for them anyway. So I'm just working plain double crochet to the correct measurements that are listed in the pattern. So that's almost done, which is very exciting. Oh, You want to see the fancy crochet hook? I don't buy them too often, but this one, I super duper loved because it looks like my mountains. It's from Handcarvedhooks. I saw it was pretty. She carves hooks and she painted it. That's all. Just thought you might like to see it. So I keep it in the little case it came in because it's wooden and it's pretty small. It's I think it's an F hook. Let me look. It is, oh no, it's a 4.5 millimeter. So that's between a G and an H in US sizes. But still, it's a stick. And it was an expensive stick, so I do not want to break the expensive stick because I would like it to be with me for many years. So, teddy bear sweater. Let's see, what else? Coffee. Always coffee. Oh, I can show you. So I started homeschooling this year. And I can, oh my gosh, I'm in the middle of the road for this too. So I started homeschooling this year for a variety of reasons. And we can talk about that in a separate video if you would actually like to hear about it. But while I am homeschooling, part of what I'm doing involves supervising while kids do work. So my kids, obviously. So sometimes when I'm sitting there, I figure, well, I might as well keep my hands busy while they're, you know, doing handwriting practice, or if they're doing some math in a worksheet, I might as well, you know, knit while they're doing their work. So I'll show you the finished one first. I am making some DK weight, really tall socks. And these are just socks that have my favorite techniques incorporated. I do have another project I can show you because I made these ankle socks first. Please hold. I will be right back. Okay, so the first version of these that I made are ankle socks. And you'll have to excuse that they're a little bit worn because I have been wearing these all over the place. So these are just DK weight ankle socks, but I used my favorite techniques on them because if I'm going to be sitting and knitting while I'm doing school, I might as well enjoy what I'm doing, right? I might as well use my favorite techniques. So I doubled the cuff over on this one, partly because I'm not sure how many yards I use for DK weight socks. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't run out of yarn because I only have one skein of this. So I just started with ankle socks. And you can see, I know you're not supposed to do 2x2 ribbing on the heel, but it's a slipped, gotta get this in front of my face. You can tell I'm out of podcast practice. It's a slipped 2x2 heel flap with a square heel turn. And then when I got down to the toe, this is kind of the funny thing. This was another process project for me, right? So normally when I write patterns, I'm thinking about what's the easiest way to write a pattern for a variety of sizes. And this time I was just like, well, what if I want it to look cool instead? Like, what if instead of writing the easy thing down, I just make the cool thing because it's for me and it's not for everybody else. So my toe is a little bit fancy in that it doesn't decrease in the normal spot. That might be the best way to say it. You're not really going to see it on my hand. I mean, you can kind of see it. You see how it sort of decreases on the top of the foot instead of down the side where you would normally expect a sock to decrease. And I like how it fits with this. So these are the ankle sock version. This is Yarn Cafe Creations. I know it's not merino. I think she has a Polworth base. So this is probably the Polworth because I can tell by feeling it that it's not merino. Unless she way overcooked it, which I don't think she did because she usually doesn't. So Polworth. I don't know the colorway. It's pretty. It's neutrals with some pinks and blues. It kind of reminds me of like a sunset over the desert. Like those very kind of vibrant and muted at the same time type colors. That's an accurate representation of it. So yeah, this is the first pair I did as ankle socks. And then you can see if you're looking at the second pair, I did the same thing, but because the ball of yarn that I'm using for these is 150 grams, I did a really tall leg because I'm not concerned about running out of yarn in a 150 gram ball. So this is, I don't know if the tag for it is in the project bag, but look, I've got the whole first sock done and part of the second one, and I still have probably like 75 grams of yarn sitting in my hand. So this is a lot. This is an opal 8-ply yarn. The label was in German. It was from a sock yarn swap, so I don't actually remember, like, I don't actually know what it is, but yeah. So let's see. Gusset, heel flap, and again, cool toe, because I like it and that's how I want it. And something else I'm excited for about these is that they are non-merino. It's just wool, so it's a little bit rougher, but I think that it will be a little bit more durable because it's not as soft, because that's usually the trade-off, right? You usually either get durable but scratchy, like on one end of the spectrum is very durable and very scratchy, and on the other end is very soft but wears out very quickly. So for a sock yarn, I would rather be a little bit more on the durable end than the soft end, because I am very hard on socks. Because I wear them around the house, and I wear them, like, I wear slippers in the house all winter. So I will either have slipper socks on, or I will have my slippers, or sometimes I will double them up. So I want very durable sock yarns. Speaking of making projects while I'm doing homeschooling, I have another one that I started yesterday or 2 days ago, and it's just a linen stitch scrappy blanket, because as I've mentioned, I have lots of fingering weight scraps. So this is a combination of DK weight scraps and fingering weight scraps held double, because those two are what I have the majority of. And basically, which is kind of nerdy of me, but it's a really good thing to do if you're doing a scrappy project, I have figured out that at this width, I am going to use 4 grams of yarn per row. Okay, so instead of playing yarn chicken, I can just work on my project and know that every single row will take 4 grams. So if I have a ball of scrap yarn that's very small, I can pick it up, put it on my little scale and go, how many rows of yarn can I get out of this? And if I have, 3 grams of yarn, okay, that's not even enough for 1 row. I'll put that off to the side. I'll use that for one of my even smaller scrappy projects. If I have like 20, for example, 20 grams of yarn, I will do like this. I'll do like 5 rows. And I'm just striping in, striping some stuff in. This will probably just be a blanket for one of the kids. They really like homemade blankets, and they don't really care what they look like because they're little kids. So this is a grand total of about 2 days of work. And I have my entire tote bag here of scrappy scraps and partials, and these are the big ones on top, but little doodads and whatever. So yeah, I'm enjoying the more mindless repetitive projects right now, which is weird for me, because if you guys have watched along for a while, you'll know that I have always been the let's make the complex things, let's make the super intense stuff. And right now I'm gravitating more towards the simple and functional, which is just weird for me. You want to see something funny though? So apparently I'm in a blanket making mood because I just am. I think it's because it's like fall. Today is November 5th, 2021. I'll tell you that 20 minutes into the podcast. It's fine. I started this a little bit ago. Look at this big old blanket. And yes, it is going opposite directions because my silly brain decided that I was going to do a mirror image blanket. I was like, let's do it so that this is like 11 p.m. thinking, right? I thought to myself, let's do it so that they can face opposite directions and I'll have an even blanket because this won't, you know, I'll have even sized stripes on both sides. So this is really, really pretty, right? But do you want to see how big it is? Guys, that's like at least 100 inches. Okay, so let's measure this. This is for fun, right? I know for a fact that I have a 60-inch wingspan. So I have 60 inches. And I've got, yeah, it's more than halfway. So this is about 100 inches long. You don't know what the worst part is? This yellow yarn right here that's so pretty and looks so nice is discontinued. It's Lion Brand wool spun and they only brought it back for like a little bit. And I have a grand total of 6 balls of it left. And so even if that were the length of the blanket, it's only about 35 inches wide right now. So that means I have enough yarn to make like 2 more of these sections. I don't know. It's very snuggly and I very much like this. And I'm kind of thinking that I might frog it and do just a solid lace center in a smaller sized blanket. Like I might make it, instead of making it 100 inches, I might start with a blanket that's like 50 inches wide, so half the width, and then just work this lace. You know what I mean? So it would just be like solid lace. And the funny thing is, I know that this is sort of old-fashioned looking lace, but I really like it. I don't know why. I just have this thing about chunky lace, and I love it. So this whole giant pile of yarn might, oop, there's my crochet hook. Oh, look, it's Tigger. I'm getting eaten by a blanket. Look, it's Tigger. Anyway, this whole thing might get frogged because it's at the point where I can't keep throwing a king-size blanket to the left and the right, and I don't have enough yarn to finish the project. So it's going to go back into the basket of indecision. Like that. I also don't have any more of the gray yarn that I was using for the gray stripes. So it's kind of just an all around, I really like this stitch and I really like this yarn, but it needs to be reworked to be functional. And last but not least, I have some fancy socks. And they're functional. And they've been to the tech editor. What? Oh, let me put my hand in them. Ooh, look at that. Look how pretty. Okay, so these are toe up with a fleagle heel, 2x2 ribbing on the back of the leg. And guess what? I'm actually going to publish these. Once I knit the second sock. Designer confessions, because this is the problem. I only need to knit one sock to get the correct yardage, to get the pattern correct, to send it to an editor, all of that. I only need to knit the one sock. But to wear them and to take photos that show you guys a person wearing 2 of these socks, I need to actually knit the second sock. So this is probably a little bit more on the soft and squishy but less durable end, and I'm going to show you why. This is Woolberry Fiber Co.'s Berry Cormo, which unfortunately is discontinued, I think because they maybe had a production issue, but I'm so sad because honestly, it's so soft and squishy. But I want you to look at the yarn structure, okay? So look at the yarn, and what do you notice about it? Let's see if I can get a strand right there in the front. What do you notice about this yarn? It's 2-ply. Now, 2-ply can work for socks, but look at it again. Is it tightly spun or loosely spun? It is loosely spun. Dang it, I sound like a kid's TV show. I told you I've been homeschooling all day. This is a loosely plied 2-ply yarn. So, you're going to have, it's gonna wear through sooner, is basically what I'm trying to tell you. Now I know what I sound like when I teach my kids. That is what I sound like. Make your best hypothesis. Let's talk about why this happens. I do really enjoy teaching, by the way. I love teaching knitting too, because I like when people go, oh, like that like spark of understanding, no matter how much you have to struggle to get there. When I see that, pa-ching, that understanding that clicks, it's just my favorite. I love it so much. So, yes, Cormo yarn. I like it. It feels incredibly soft and buttery. But my guess is that it will not be as durable as a 4-ply yarn would be. That's just my hypothesis. But I really like how the cables are showing up. And you can sort of see it's already a little bit, that's not from wear, this is just how the texture of the yarn is. But there's already little, you know, pills, I guess, just from the texture of the yarn. So we'll see. It's a very pretty sock. I love it. I just don't know how well the yarn holds up, so I can't necessarily say go buy 2-ply Cormo if she ever gets it back in stock, because I will have to wear them and find out. So, I'm gonna look at my bag. I'm pretty sure that that's all the projects I have. Oh, I can show you the weaving. Okay, so I have literally just flipped the camera, and you can see this is my weaving work in progress. I'm going to see if I can show you how this loom works, because it's pretty cool in my opinion. It is a flip loom, so you will notice that I can fold this down without losing the tension on my project. So there are screws on the side, and I can loosen the screws like so. Oops, not that one. Loosen the screws. And once I loosen the screws, I can adjust it to the height and to the angle that I want. So I tend to weave pretty much flat, like this. So let me just get everything tightened back in. I'm gonna sneak behind here, move my laundry basket. Sneak behind here. Remember I told you that I'm in a smaller house now? This is the evidence. My loom is sitting in front of my dresser. I've got like my weights right under it. Yeah. Okay, so good. You totally can see this. That's awesome. So this is an Ashford. No, not Ashford. I chose the other one. This is a shacked flip. And I am teaching myself how to weave, right? Which means I'm basically watching YouTube videos and stuff like that. But this is a rigid heddle loom. And what that means is this part, the heddle, is rigid, which, you know, pretty straightforward. This is my first weaving project ever. So if I get some of the information wrong, you know, excuse me, I'm learning as I go. When I weave on this, right now the heddle is in the neutral position. When I weave on it, let me get my, look how big that shuttle is. It's huge. Let me get my shuttle off to the side. I know for this side, I'm going to start with an up heddle, with the heddle up. So I'm going to take a little bit of my, take a little bit of the yarn off, and I'm going to put my shuttle through. And I'm going to have to step in front of the camera to get the shuttle because it's massive. Okay, so I pull it through, pull the yarn through, and this is what I'm working on right now, is I'm working on not getting the edges too tight. But once I have the yarn pretty much just sitting on the edge, I'm going to grab the heddle. This is called beating. I'm going to beat it, and then I'm going to put it down into the down position. Take my shuttle, and again I have to lean in front of the camera because large loom. Pull the shuttle back in the other direction. And I'm doing this very slowly and awkwardly because this is a big loom and I'm trying to let you see what I'm doing. But like so, I'm going to take my heddle again, beat what I've just woven, and set it back in the up position. So what I'm doing when I move the heddle is, you can see half of these threads are up. Actually, you might not be able to see. Let's see if I can help you see. Half the threads are up and half the threads are down. So when I change, I'm gonna see if I can do this one-handed. When I change it, the other threads go to the top. So look. Change, up. This is called up shed, down shed, up, down. And so in essence, this is alternating which threads are getting woven under. So I'm going to put this in the up position again, and you can see, got a little knot there. When I'm putting this shuttle through, in the up position, it's lifting up the ones that previously had yarn over top of them. So that's pretty much it. I'm almost done with this project. This is Lion Brand Mandala Tweed Stripes, I believe, which is basically just a DK weight cake yarn. I direct warped it, which means I put the yarn directly onto the loom instead of using a warping board. And you can see I'm new, like I said, so my edges still have some tension issues. They still need some work. My rows aren't the evenest, but I'm really, really enjoying it. So yeah, that's about where I'm at for this episode. I know I'm crooked. I just sat down and moved the tripod all around for the weaving. Thank you for joining me for this episode. I hope you enjoyed seeing what I'm up to. See you next time.